All right.
Well, welcome you guys. My name is Benson Juarez, and I'm one of the owners here at Privy. We're a real estate investment software company. If you're not familiar with us, we've been around for about 10 years. We started off just building technology to use in our own business. My business partner and I, we're both real estate brokers, and we work with real estate clients, and we also do real estate investing ourselves. So the whole goal of Privy was to basically help us automate the tedious tasks of finding deals, running comparables, tracking markets. It's a very manual process. It takes a lot of time and effort, and we were just having trouble scaling. And so we looked for a technical solution for that issue, and it just didn't exist. So we built it. And for a couple of years, it was just in-house. We just used it with our own clients and for our own deals. And pretty soon, people started to get wind of it. And next thing you know, they were asking for other to use it in the office with other agents. Our clients wanted to use it, and we're like, wait a second, this could be a product that could help other people. And so now, many years later, here we are. We're nationwide, and I get to work with amazing people every day, like Sean here, who's now become a good friend of mine. And he's a real estate investing coach. He's a wholesaling coach. He is a business person, a mentor, an advisor, influencer. He does it all. And so I want to introduce my friend Sean Young.
Hey, brother, thanks for having me on, man. Such kind words, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me here. You guys, like Benson said, you guys are in for a treat tonight. My name is Sean Young. I am a real estate investor based here in the Atlanta, Georgia market. I also teach students how to invest from anywhere in the world, anywhere in the United States as well, using my methods. I'm an author. I own and operate a virtual assistant company as well that helps other investors in our space get that heavy lifting done, such as cold calling, text blasting, running numbers, sending out agreements, getting comps. All that stuff can be handled for you by a virtual assistant. And we've got a great crew of gals and guys that are highly trained and highly trained professionals who are ready to make that happen for you guys, to help take your business to that next level. So guys, I'm here to add as much value as I can to this call. Benson, like he said, is a great friend of mine. We've got to become close friends over the past couple of years. And guys, this is going to be a great call. So let's do it.
Yeah, Sean, you and I kind of jived from the beginning. We just knew we had kind of similar values, and we were both hustlers and, obviously in the same business.
Indeed.
However, we didn't always see eye to eye on the platform. And when we first started, right? Like,
not at all.
When we first started going, you were basically kind of doing things the old fashioned way, right? Just the tried and true methods that, a lot of other people use, that you get from the books or mentors or coaches and podcasts. And so it took a while for you to kind of get up to speed with the technology approach, right?
100%. Well, the technology wasn't the culprit. It was the proper technology. So absolutely, it was the proper technology. So you're 100% right. I had to get up to speed with seeing what the vision was that you were presenting, because it was so foreign to how we're trained in our industry, so to speak, kind of from the beginning, to only seek off-market opportunities and to only seek them in a certain type of way. So you definitely opened my eyes up to that, helped my business absolutely tremendously grow for sure. So you always want to have other opportunities and other exit strategies at your disposal. And this definitely allows for that to happen. Excuse me.
Yeah. And the core of that was this whole concept of investor activity. So most investors, when they look for deals, whether you're wholesaling or whatever your strategies, we'll just use investors as that bucket of people. They typically look for deals based off of convenience. So what does that look like? You end up looking for deals like where you live or where you work or where you grew up. And if you do anything that's not in your own backyard or remote, you feel like you have to have some sort of an attachment to that place, right? Boots on the ground, right? It is a valuable piece. However, it shouldn't be the main driver of where you look for deals. The reason is because the majority of the strategies that we implement in our business are based off of what's called after repair value, right? ARV. ARV is what a property is going to be worth after it's fixed up and sold. That's what a fixed up and sold property is. It represents after repair value. And if you are in an area where no one is doing flips, that also means you don't have data or comparables to prove after repair value. So thinking about opportunity cost and where you can do deals and where you can't do deals and how much limited time you potentially have, why would you look in an area where there's no one doing deals? Right now, everybody always brings up, well, competition. Like, I want to be in an area where no one's doing, there's no competition, right? So Sean, what happens when that's true?
That makes zero sense, because like Benson said, if you have no competition, that means there's nothing happening out there. There's nothing going on out there. You don't want to be the person that's the trailblazer for that market that's going to come out there and start being the first fixer or flipper in a particular area, or providing a fix or flip. It's usually not going to be you being that first person. So you want to be in a market, or you want to be in a section of a market where data supports that. So like Benson said, you have the opportunity to get that return on your investment much quicker than if you're just kind of using a shotgun approach and shooting all over the place and saying, hey, if I get something and way out in the middle of anywhere, at least I got a deal. It doesn't work like that, guys. You'll be very frustrated trying to offload that property.
Right, and the offload, you're referring to the disposition side of the business. So there's acquisition, which is you going out and finding quote unquote motivated sellers, or however you find it, and we're referring to kind of the old-fashioned way.
Indeed.
And even if you're lucky enough to get somebody on board, which it's going to be difficult to do in those areas because you have to give them such a low ball offer to make the numbers work, that getting those offers accepted is really, really difficult. Those numbers are in the teens. And then if you were lucky enough to get something under contract, who are you going to sell it to? Right? If there's no one doing deals there, then there's no buyers. So your competition are your buyers, unfortunately. However, in this business, there's a way for you to work together. There's a way for you to be kind of the person who's going to find the property and sell it. Now, right now, we're talking a lot about wholesaling. Don't let that distract you from the fact that we're just talking about finding discounted deals. Wholesaling is a very small part of a whole real estate transaction, which people call wholesaling. It's simply the assignment.
Great point, Benson.
Go ahead. Do you have something to add?
No, I was going to say, great point. Go, keep going.
So a lot of the tactics that quote unquote wholesalers use, regular fix and flippers use, landlords use to find leads. They cold call, they skip trace, they do mailing. That is just lead gen. The only difference between all that stuff and wholesaling is what you do with the property once it's under contract. That's when you're like, okay, cool. I know I'm going to assign it to this end person for a fee. Besides that, 99% of it's the same. So don't get confused about us talking about buyers and that thing. If you're a fix and flipper, your buyer is your retail buyer. Right? They're going to be the ones that are going to have to prove value. They're the ones that's going to have the appraiser there who's going to come and run the numbers and look at all your comps, and none of them are flipped. And you're trying to tell them that your ARV is X when they're going to say it's here because there's no data to support it. Right? So what I'm going to show you tonight is a strategy called the reverse REI strategy. Now, we actually have a patent pending on this process, and we basically are able to reverse engineer the process by beginning with the end in mind. Instead of just being proactive and taking action and chasing leads, you're going to do a little bit more research and figure out the best places to look, the best strategies to use based off of what other investors are already doing and what they're having success with. And so many of the problems you might be having, like you don't have enough deal flow, you're spending money on ineffective and expensive marketing campaigns, you're writing a bunch of offers and you're not winning bids, or you're getting the deal and the numbers don't work and you're having trouble offloading it on the disposition side. Those are all problems that wholesalers, investors have. Now, part of the problem with that is the competition, right? I mentioned before that your buyers are your competition if you're doing wholesale. There is something here that I don't think that the majority of the investment community understands and how important it is. It's this whole concept of institutional buyers. And Sean, we've mentioned it in kind of passing, but I've been doing a lot of research, and it's becoming a big deal. Even
Huge deal.
Even the presidency, Biden and his administration are talking about looking at institutional buyers almost as like a what do you call it? Shoot, I forgot the name of it. Where they basically have cornered the market, or they have so much power, so much influence on a market that they're making it hard for anybody else to compete, right? And so, who these people are large companies that you may have heard of: Open Door, OfferPad, Zillow offers before they went defunct. Keller Williams has one. I think Remax has an iBuyer program.
Mhm.
So these iBuyers fit into that bucket. Who also is there are companies like Invitation Homes, large institutional buyers that are buying up tons of property. BlackRock is another name. These also includes hedge funds and private equity firms. They have really deep pockets, and they're funded basically from Wall Street, where all this billions and billions and billions of dollars is pouring into their pockets. And in the end of the third quarter last year, they had bought over 18% of every single property in the United States went to an institutional buyer. Right now, it's over 20%. And by the end of the year, they believe it's going to be over 25%. So 1 in 4 properties is going to not even be available to you because institutional buyers are snatching up for you. And one of the reasons why is because they have different motivation than you do. They're not always looking for huge discounts
Mhm.
like we would want for like a wholesale or a fix and flip deal. They're playing the long game. So they're looking at appreciation, they're looking at cash flow, they're looking at depreciation,
Mhm.
tax deductions, all these things that are kind of a second an afterthought for maybe some of us on the call here. Now, the most interesting thing about that is our company was contacted by one of these major companies, and they were looking to kind of up their game and start to do some different things with some of the other strategies they're already using. So they're using some of the stuff I'm going to show you tonight. They aren't using it all because we actually said we weren't going to work with them, because we're firm believers that we want everybody here, and the regular person who's just going to go out and live in a house and raise their family there should have that opportunity. And if these institutional buyers keep getting all of the power and their leverage, and they get what they want, which is to basically buy up every single property in the US, then we'll have no chance. So what I'm going to show you tonight will help with that. So Sean, in your dealings in this space, I mean, you've been around for a while now. Like, have you come across the institutional buyers? Like, what's been your interaction with them?
Yes, especially like he said, back when before Zillow kind of went out of there. I mean, their idea on purchasing was totally different. So they were willing to pay a totally different amount than what the average investor was willing or wanting to pay, because like Benson said, they were playing the long-term game. They just want to have these properties under their possession and under their control, and they'll figure out what to do with it in the future. Whether it however they're going to make their money, they're not concerned with that today. Like Benson said, they're more like 5-10 years from now. That's where that money is coming into play. And these hedge funds or these institutional buyers, but which involves hedge funds, they can be good cash buyers for you to work with as well once you establish relationships with one of those quote unquote institutional buyers as well. You can be a source for providing those deals because they do pay a good, if they have particular criteria that they're looking for, but they do pay very well for that.
They do, and it kind of makes me think too. Like, I'm here painting them in a negative light. However, it's an opportunity for everybody here to make money.
Mhm.
So that is obviously on our own conscience. If you believed in strongly that we don't want to support their initiative, then you would wholesale to somebody else who isn't the iBuyer, who isn't
Mhm.
the institutional buyer. But again, it's like they're willing to pay more. So maybe a property that wasn't a deal for your normal buyers list
Mhm.
is a deal for BlackRock or Invitation Homes. So you're kind of tugged in those two different directions, right? And so think about where
Absolutely.
your kind of your values lie. And it doesn't mean you're a bad person if you do it. It's just,
Mhm.
you're motivated by different things, and we all are.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And most investors who are serious investors, they're going to have a combination of both. Like you say, they're going to have the traditional cash buyers, and then they're going to also have those institutional buyers as well, or those like hedge funds that they can, go to for different type of deal structures.
Yeah. Yeah. And and people, I know lots of Privy users who have hedge funds that they
Mhm.
sell to. And boy, they keep that stuff under lock and key. Like, it's once you find that information, people just don't want to share it.
Mhm.
And part of it is a kind of that scarcity mentality, like, oh, I got to keep my stuff close to the vest. However, in most cases, there's a way for everybody kind of partake in win-win. So let me explain a little bit more about this reverse REI strategy. So what we do is we basically put you in the best position to succeed by dropping you right in the middle of where these hot investor activities are located. These high investor activity locations have the things that you need to be successful at this business. You've got really good comparables that are fix and flip, that sold recently, that have buyers attached to them, that have investor focused agents attached to the property. So instead of thinking about those as an afterthought and just being lead driven, you put that reverse REA strategy in place and you go backward, and then you put together a better path to success that has less resistance. There's a cleaner, more direct path when you do this thing. So you're going to drop right into these hot areas. And so you're going to be able to basically alleviate a lot of the problems that kill people down the road, which on the disposition side is like, nobody wants your deals. They beat you up on price and value. You're not getting the assignment fees that you want. And eventually you burn out because you're just not getting the stuff done. And most of it is because that you're just not using the proper strategy. So if you use this, even if you didn't use our system, what I'm going to show you tonight, it'll make a huge difference in your business. Now, everything I'm going to show you tonight is infinitely more available and easier because the data and the algorithms and the automation is there, which is why those large institutional buyers have an edge from above you. But yes, they've got resources, people and money, but they use technology and data, you guys. It's all in the automation. They've got teams of people that are leveraging this information to go and find deals. And you can have the same data or better because, again, we're not using everything that they're using. In relationships, right, are a very important part of this process. So if you can find good cash buyers or good investor focused agents in your target market and you put that together with the data I'm going to show you tonight, you could become unstoppable. Now, so Sean, one of the things that you teach is virtual wholesaling, right?
Yep.
What is that in a nutshell?
Virtual wholesaling, guys, is basically being able to do deals with hands off is a better way to put it, because I would consider doing a deal, even though I'm based here in the Atlanta market, I could do a deal here in Atlanta hands off and consider that virtual, just the exact same way that I would do a deal if it was in Milwaukee. It'll be the same principles that I'm using, the same techniques, the same strategies. And it just means that you are not physically there to see that property. You're not physically there to put your eyes on that property. You have other means and methods of getting that accomplished.
Yep. And you can do a lot of that stuff right from behind your computer, guys.
100%.
I know that the majority of you are probably not doing this full time yet.
Mm-hmm.
We would love to help you get to that point where you can do this full time and you can eliminate your 9 to 5 and start controlling your own schedule and how you work, and be excited to get up in the morning, get on your computer and just start knocking out deals. However, it's going to take some work to get there. So what does this look like? So let me jump into a demo here and I'll start to show you what the technology looks like. So Privy, it's web-based software. We pull in data from all over the United States, multiple sources of data. We've got a lot of like the traditional kind of off-market data that the average investor would use, like foreclosures, absentee owners, vacancies, tired landlords, and that's all the gray area here. We also have what's called third-party listing data. So this is the kind of data that was available to a couple of the companies that have recently lost it, like Batch or PropStream, and there's others, because of the way their contracts were set up. So we weren't affected by any of those changes, and so we still have that nationwide. So you can look for deals right in your own backyard in a major city, or you can even look for deals in, Podunk, Nebraska, right? Which, is in the middle of nowhere. There's likely not any investor activity. So you wouldn't want to look there. I'm just saying you could if you wanted to.
I'm glad that you mentioned that really quickly, Benson, before you move past that. The PropStream piece, guys. I saw someone in the comments just make a comment about that as well, about they couldn't believe that. Guys, like Benson said, him and his team, they had foresight on this, because this is stuff that Benson was talking to me about literally like a year and a half ago or something. And here we are, and his company is unaffected by that. So for all of you folks out there who may question and say, well, man, what is the difference between this and prop stream? He just told you. And so I hope you guys caught that piece. It's the data, the MLS data access that he has not lost access to.
Right. And there's different kinds, right? So there's third-party MLS, which is gathered up by what's called an aggregator. These could be like title companies, other data companies, and there isn't one source of MLS data. You really have to go direct, which is what we've done. So we got the third-party MLS, and that's nationwide. And then we've been going direct to each MLS that you see on the map here, all these blue ones. We've gone in and negotiated direct data contracts so that you can get the best data that's available to be able to run your numbers, analyze deals, track investor activity, learn local markets. And without that data, it's a little bit more difficult unless you've got like a rock star agent that's doing everything for you in your own market and you're their only client. And they're willing to jump when you say jump, and they're willing to run when you say run. Well, we know that's not always the case, right? So you being an entrepreneur need to find ways of taking control back, being able to run your business how and when you want to. So this map is going to change. It's evolving. One of our coming soon markets is Salt Lake City. This is one that we've been working on diligently, really hard. You know, for every market we go through, we have to go through compliance. So we have to jump through all their hoops, sit in front of the board of directors, answer a bunch of questions. They shine a really hot spotlight on your face and they say, tell us the truth. And then you eventually just break down and say, yes, we want to make money. And that they're okay with that. The fact of the matter is they just want to make sure that we're in line with how they want their data to be available. And that's the main thing. So this is why it takes longer. And this is why it's basically us who are the ones that have been building a moat around the way we run business. And it's a little bit slower. So these markets are coming. You're going to see us in every major city in the US. All the red ones that are here on the map are the ones that are approved, getting ready to be launched. This map will keep evolving, keep changing. So whether you want to do off-market, on-market deals, you can get access to the best data here. Now, one of the things I mentioned before that was the investor activity. So at the top here, we built a bunch of easy buttons. So we've got this really, good filter here where you can go in and you can put filters in and put exactly what you're looking for. But sometimes you just want to be able to click a button and have something to happen. And that's what we can do here. So we click investor activity, our system's going out and it's running analysis on millions and millions and millions of data points. And we're going to be extracting is what's called investor activity. These are the deals that other investors have done that have closed. And this allows us to find those hot areas I talked about earlier. You don't look for deals in Rapid City, South Dakota. It's not going to be worth your time. You want to look in an area where investor activity is located. Now, once you drop into that space, this is one of the things that really helps with that virtualness is that I talked about the data and the people resources, the comps, the actual buyers, the agents, but being able to learn a local market virtually would be next to impossible if you didn't have this kind of data. You'd have to go take a trip out there, or you'd have to rely on somebody to do all that work for you. So here's this coverage map. So the more blue you see, the higher the number, the more investor activity there is. And so what ends up happening is that there are areas that are way hotter than others. So you can see here, like on the map, like Oklahoma City is one of our newer markets, 1,769. Right, that's pretty good relative to the rest of the area. Denver is actually starting to happen. I think summer or late fall last year, this was in like the 1,800 mark. Like this is already popping. So Denver's getting a lot harder. Chicago, Indianapolis, Philadelphia, Atlanta. Oh, one of the things I forgot to tell you, Sean, I think I might have mentioned to you before. So Atlanta is almost 1 out of every 3 properties is bought by an institutional buyer. Indeed. Based off the data. That's Houston and Atlanta are, yeah. It's unfortunate. It just happens to be what it is, right?
It is. But it's not like you can't understand why. I mean, Atlanta is a great city for a lot of companies to come here and headquarter. and all those factors, the tax reasons. So there's a lot of factors why companies are targeting specific areas, but data will drive you to get those answers and understandings.
Definitely, it really does, and it helps you understand it quicker too. So, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is being able to give you kind of like information that you're only privy to, right? There's a reason why we called ourselves Privy. And Privy, yes, in England is a toilet, and it's an unfortunate thing that we are aligned with that. Here, though, in the context that we're talking about, when you're privy to information, it means you know something that someone else doesn't know, right? You've heard people use that. So all of these right here, this is where the investor activity is. So some of these areas are hotter than others. So Sean mentioned earlier, like, yeah, okay, Indianapolis is hot. Well, which part of Indianapolis is hot? Is it north, south, east, west? Is it right near, a certain area like Woodruff Place right here? There's not much going on right in this little section. Well, why is that? Is it because it's already picked over, or is it because it's not ripe yet? But every one of these properties is a sold deal. This is how you prove ARV, is by targeting an area right in here. This is where your buyers are located. This is where you can learn the local market and figure out, like, what does a deal look like in St. Louis versus Indianapolis versus Chicago versus Denver? Well, you look at closed deals. That's the fastest way to learn what a deal looks like. Not some universal 70% of ARV. Sean's laughing now, but
yeah,
it doesn't work, right?
Yeah, it's really outdated, guys. And I mean, that's really just outdated. I'll leave it at that. Can proceed. Yeah, we've gone into this so many times. It's really funny, but yeah, absolutely. It's an outdated method. You got to go by what the numbers are showing you right now. And that formula may not necessarily be the indicator to show you the opportunity, but these opportunities are here. They're right there for you.
Yeah, and there's deals off market, on market. Before Sean and I became, a little bit more on the level, he was really focused on off market, and he still does them, right? Because there's deals there to be had too. It's just that if you have a reverse REI strategy and you put yourself in these hot areas, you can do a lot more on market deals, you guys. And you know what's great about on market? The person who owns the house has already told you they want to sell it. They already told you that they want to, what price they want to sell it to you for. And if you can meet them on price and terms, you got yourselves a deal. This house was purchased from the MLS for $151,000. They sold it for $582,000. This is a deal that any one of you could have gotten if you had been using Privy and targeting Indianapolis at this point when this property came on the market. This is 26% of the ARV. Ridiculously good deal. This is one of those 6-digit flips that Jamil likes to talk about, right, in his show. This is one of those kinds of deals.
Triple digit flip.
Triple digit flip. Thank you. I said 6-digit, didn't I?
Yeah, triple digit flip. That's it. But yeah, that's it. And guys, if you see what Benson's doing here on the left side, that's the before pictures of the same property here. This is very important data, guys. This is hugely important, because this allows you to be an expert to your cash buyer pool as well, because you have data to present them. And I don't want to get ahead of myself with Benson's presentation, but I know that he's going to get into the benefit of why this is so invaluably important as well to your cash buyers. And I also want to play devil's advocate really quickly, Benson, because I know someone is out here in the chat room. They're asking this question. Well, Benson, I'm a wholesaler. These are on the market. How do I get these deals? How would I get these properties as a wholesaler?
As a wholesaler, right. So like I mentioned before, you guys, the process of finding and analyzing deals is the exact same no matter where you're getting the deals from. You find a property, you run the numbers, it looks good, you make an offer, based off of you having a certain margin. And then once it's under contract, then you have to be able to do something with it, right? If you're the fix and flipper, well, at that point, you're going in, you're getting your money together. Maybe you got a loan you're going to do, or you're ordering materials so you can go and fix the property up, getting your contractors ready. If you're a wholesaler, you start marketing. Well, the only difference is you would put an assignment clause in the contract. And an assignment clause can go in an on-market contract the same way you can go in an off-market contract. That's the only difference, is the assignment clause. So if you find an on-market deal, you put an assignment clause in there, you can assign it. Now, there are some places like Illinois and Philadelphia who don't like you to do assignments, the misnomer here is that people think you can't wholesale. They can't stop you from wholesaling. They can stop you from performing real estate activities, which is where the assignment comes in. If you were to double close, like if you bought this property, closed it, and then immediately sold it to the next person, that's a wholesale deal. However, it's two transactions, right? The other way of doing that is by using LLCs, where you write the offer in the name of an LLC, get it under contract, and then you sell the LLC to your end buyer for a fee. That's not a real estate activity in the eyes of like what a licensed real estate agent would be doing. Yeah, I did just one quote over here.
Yeah.
So there's ways of doing it. So on market deals, they're easy. And some people only do on market wholesaling because it's so much easier. You don't have to be an expert salesperson. You don't have to cold call, skip trace. You don't have to knock on anybody's door. You don't have to go sit at someone's kitchen table who's in foreclosure and have an uncomfortable conversation about them losing their house. And now you're like wearing all these hats. Well, no, you're a salesperson. Now you're about dog the bounty hunter because you're skip tracing. Now you're a therapist because you're helping somebody work through a situation. Or you're a lawyer because you're giving them information about how to get out of a foreclosure situation. Like, how cool would it be if you could just be a real estate investor, right? And that's what you can do if you just write offers on on-market properties. Now, the thing is like, I think every good investor should have multiple sources of deal flow. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. So that's where Sean started to implement this, was like, okay, you're good at off-market. Now you added that tool in your toolbox to do it on market, and it's changed things for you, right?
Absolutely.
Now with your students, how does that change like what you teach them? Is it like a huge shift, or is it just kind of like a tweak or a tool?
It was a tweak. It was a tweak based upon the dynamics of the tool. It wasn't a huge shift, but it was just a tweak, because the idea that I teach my students is that I want them to be able to start looking at opportunities versus just having a tunnel vision wholesaling approach to things. Because like Benson said, wholesaling is simply assigning a particular deal that you've acquired. So there's a number of ways that you can offload those properties, and having this tool available to you, it puts you in the driver's seat of being able to show an end user, or excuse me, an end buyer from an investment standpoint, exactly what they're getting, exactly what they could do with the property. It's just a huge benefit. So I definitely have shared that with my students. Didn't have to do too much of a philosophy change, but I definitely tweaked that and added that as part of my repertoire. So when my students on board with me, we on board using Privy, picking their market that we're going to do business in, because it is the data that I can rely on. So, because again, we don't go by any emotions, we don't go by feelings, we use data and numbers.
Definitely. And part of the data that comes out of a deal like this is who actually did the deal. So if you are a wholesaler, and by the way, I know a lot of fix and flippers who still wholesale because they can only do so many projects at once. And if they're using Privy, or they've got a good marketing side of their business, and they got deals, well, don't not write offers on deals because you're busy with a project already. Like that one's going to finish at some point. So you need things coming into your funnel so you can constantly have projects going. And if you come across something that just doesn't make sense for you because you're in a project for 9 months, well, once it's under contract, you can wholesale it. So there's no reason to pass up on deals. Now, who do you sell those to? Well, you sell it to Rams Homes LLC. This is the company that just fixed and flipped this property. Now we have that data for every single person. All those red icons on the map, those are your buyers. Also, if you're looking for boots on the ground, well, you want to use investor-focused agents. So Susan Kappen down here is the agent of Century 21, is the investor-focused agent that did this deal, right? Now, so again, in most markets, we have both the office and the agent who is attached to that property. So you would want to reach out to Suzanne if you wanted to do deals in Indianapolis. And you'd reach out and you'd say, hey, listen, I'm doing deals here. You know, this is where I think the hot area is. I'm looking for an agent to work with, to help me write offers. You don't have to worry about me. You know, I'm able to run my own comp, search for my own deals. I just need you to go look at the property for me, make sure it is what I think it is. make sure there's not a tree growing through the middle of it, and that my numbers make sense. And we can just do multiple deals. So agents love that stuff, as long as they realize that you're not going to waste their time.
Absolutely. They love it. And like, just want to add on to that as well, guys. It's just not an ask. You're not just asking them to do something for you. You introduce yourself as a new investor in the market. You're looking to get some new properties up under your belt and add to your portfolio. You want to share what your vision is. So ensure that you do get a couple of realtors on your team that understand what your vision is and what you're doing. Let them know, hey guys, or gals, whoever your realtor is, when I do get a property, I'll be definitely needing a good realtor to help me list that property as well. So when you make sure that you're giving back and letting them know up front that you're going to be willing to give back, they'll be a lot likely to help you out and I give you the assistance with the boots on the ground, which allows you to be virtual, that you guys need.
100%. I would just treat them as a partner. Like they're literally your partner on the ground in another market. And it isn't a difficult thing once you get to a point and you're just above grade. Like you never want to like pull the wool over someone's eye and pretend that you're someone you're not. Like be 100% upfront with them and say, listen, I'm going to go into a new market. I need boots on the ground. I'm going to start off with wholesaling. However, if these deals start to make sense and I'm getting some cash in, I'll likely do some fix and flips out there or some buy and hold. And that's most of our long-term strategy, right? So that's what you can do there. Now, the other thing I mentioned is that because of the MLS data, our system is automatically running comparables on every single property in the US. And comping, you guys, is more of an art than it is a science. And even with the best data available, it still can be kind of subjective. And there's things that can lean you one way or another. So we have this comping algorithm that in these real-time MLS areas comes directly from the MLS. And those comping algorithms also work in the third-party areas where those MLS areas are at. And you got rental comps here, real-time sold comparables. The algorithm does all that work for you. You don't have to spend a bunch of time doing it, and it happens like that. You don't have to rely on an agent to do that for you either. So this is where you would want to look for deals. Now, if you wanted to look for off-market deals, then all you would do is just switch the filter over, and maybe you change it over to, say, zombie properties or absentee owners or vacancies. And then our system will go in there and it'll find those matches, and you can create a list and export it. So you can export any list. So if I were to export this list, for example, of cash buyers, I just come over here and click list. It creates the list over here on the left. Click that list, export it. And now I've got a list, in this case, cash buyers who closed deals recently. Or if I wanted to export that foreclosure list or an absentee owner list, these lists will produce more, what would you call them? More real deals. I know there's better words for it than that. More real deals than if you were just looking randomly. And the reason is because the numbers, all that data that's there, that's for those fix and flip properties, help you to make your numbers work. It helps you to prove value. It's really easy to determine after repair value on a house if the house right next door was just fixed and flipped and sold yesterday, right? That's the whole point of putting this in the situation is, so when you look at a house that you found here, you look at the comps and 5 of them were flipped, right? That solves everything for you. So let's do that. So all I'm going to do at the top right here is I'm going to click this one button. So in this button is a filter, right? And it was in this filter, I could go in, I could create, a discount, 75% of ARV, do a bunch of things. And, that is fairly straightforward. However, again, the easy button. So I click this one button and now Privy's going in and it's searching for deals in this area. And what's so cool about this, you guys, is that we spend the majority of our time as a group running comps, analyzing deals on properties that we're never going to do anything with. So we have to say run comps on 100 deals to find the 5 we want to write an offer on. We just wasted 95% of our time saying no. What if you could eliminate all 95 of those properties right out of the gates and only show you the 5 that you should look at a little bit more closely, and then maybe 2 of those are actual real deals? How amazing is that? So let me show you on the map here. Here's those properties. Here's a bunch of houses that are available that just came on the market recently, right? And we flagged these properties as a deal because of the price of the house and then the price of the comps. So here's this house, not great, needs some work. When we pulled the comparables, the reason why we flagged this property as a deal is because of all this stuff in here. See all of these right here with the dark. So there's a purchase price and a sold price. Those are like those red ones that we showed you before with the before and after. This house has, if we click investor activity here, let's see, 26 fix and flips that are comps in the same area. That makes it so simple to determine after repair value when your comps are renovated, as opposed to being in Rapid City, South Dakota, where you find a property and there's no flipped comps. So how the heck are you going to prove ARV if you have no renovated homes? I mean, it sounds obvious, right? But I guarantee you the majority of us aren't thinking about it that way. So when you sort this by distance and you look at these prices, 180, 214, 219, in that button was set to 75% of the ARV. So every comp that's in this column right here will be less than 75. The closer you get to zero, the better the deal is. And so looking at these numbers here, and I'm not going to run an average, it's going to be right around 60 to 65% of the ARV. That's a wholesale deal. So let's look at one of these, Sean, and just kind of get your general impression. Let's say this house right here, it was just flipped. It's on 12th Street. We can open it up. We can see the before and after. We can see exactly what we need to do to our house to be able to get to this same thing. Now, here's the cool thing. This company flipped their property at 75% of the ARV. So they bought it at 75, not even including costs. They have to add costs on top of that. So this company that flipped this house is what we call them, they're willing to pay up, right? They're willing to pay more than what you would think the average buyer would pay because of that stupid MAO 70% thing. So this is Lucro Real Estate LLC. They're the ones that flipped this house. So LaCroix, I'm butchering that, Real Estate LLC is a buyer, 75% of the ARV. You can buy this house at 57% of the ARV. And a company that bought a house that's just like yours that just closed recently was at 75%. So there's a margin there. We'll use math minus 57%. So there's 18% potential profit that can go in your pocket if you paid asking price for this house, you guys, asking price. So if you went in at 125, you still have a potential of making 18% of the ARV. And what is 18%? So if the ARV is 219,000 times 0.18, that's a potential of a $40,000 assignment fee.
And that's, like he said, guys, that's with their asking price.
That's at asking price. Now, Sean, as a traditional wholesaler and in the world, the stuff that you see every day, like, what do these numbers tell you?
They tell me that you can definitely make some good money using this method. Obviously, absolutely, because the average wholesaler, again, would have passed on all of these deals. The average wholesaler is not going to look at these deals. They're not deals that a wholesaler is trained to look at, quote unquote. So it's a ton of opportunity out there for us, guys.
So let's just say this was 219, and let's use the normal 70% MAO. Okay, so we'll multiply that by 70%. That puts us at 153. All right, so there's a little bit of room there between that and the ask price of this house. This one may actually meet it. However, we have to put in the construction cost now. So this is 1,170 square feet. So 153, remember that. 1,170, and let's say it was going to be a $40 per square foot construction project, right? Middle of the road, times 40. That puts us at 46,800. So if we subtract 153,000 from that, that puts us at where we would have to be at $106,000 using the MAO approach, not even including your assignment fee. We'd have to subtract out another $5,000 potentially. So the average wholesaler would offer $101,000 on this house and not get it. because our offer is way too low. This is how the data can change your game. You're basically changing your whole business approach. Instead of using a universal formula that doesn't work in most cases, you put together a strategy that's based off of what all these guys are having success with, finding properties that match those specific models, and then giving them what they want on a silver platter. That Rurik Realty LLC bought that house at 75%. We can buy it at 58. So if you're doing deals today, like you don't have to be in Indianapolis to do this deal. I mean, Sean was just telling us about how you can do virtual deals. I'm going to share this with a group. I would love for somebody to go take this house and make some money on it. So this is our sharing tool. And I'm going to put this in the chat. And that is going out to everybody.
Jump on it, guys.
We've got a really good question here. So Azrael is asking, well, how do you market a property to an end buyer and wholesale it for more than the listing price of the home? I want to get Sean's impression on this first. What if you were going to market an on-market property to an end buyer, how would you approach it?
If I were going to market one of these on-market properties to an end buyer, I'd show them what they could make on the deal. I'd show them the potential earnings that they could make on the deal, versus using any type of formulas or anything like that, or even worrying about the listing price. I want to show them what they can make on this potential flip.
Right. So this is why on an on-market deal like this, I wouldn't take a $40,000 assignment fee and give it to them at 75. I'd basically get some reasonable profit from it and pass on more of that profit to your end buyer to build that relationship. Absolutely. And also give you ammunition to build a better case on why this on-market deal makes sense. So if you go to them and you can't explain why a house that is at 56% of the ARV is a deal, there's a problem there. It means you're not getting the numbers. Now, Privy will help you understand that over time. And it isn't really a Privy problem. That's a numbers problem. That's a real estate issue. The other issue is being able to get them to realize that. And part of it is relationship. So if you had already called the buyer and built a relationship and introduced yourself and explained to them how you do business, BS for a while, ask about their kids, whatever it is, you're going to have a lot less pushback on these kinds of scenarios than if you don't know who they are and you're just blasting this out to some nameless, faceless buyers list that you've never talked to. Yeah, you're going to get pushback all day, every day. But if you take the time to build those relationships, going out there and calling them, learning what they want, learning what their goals are, and then finding properties that match their criteria, then you're okay. Also, what you do is you figure out who is willing to do on-market deals. So when you're talking to these guys, you ask them and you say, hey, listen, John, if I find a property that's on market and I can get it for 56% of the ARV, would you have a problem with that if it makes you money? And of course, they're going to say, I have no problem with that. Send me what you got.
And
so
and
now
notice Benson didn't say
seed.
75% of the asking price. He said 75% of the ARV. That's key.
It is. And now you planted that seed. So if they give you pushback, then when you go market this deal to them, you can say, John, when we spoke back in October, you told me that you wanted me to send you MLS deals if the numbers made sense. Now, listen, I brought you this one first because we've got a good relationship. However, if you're going to give me pushback on this property because it was on the MLS and it's still at 56% of the ARV, I get you. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. I've got 5 other buyers that'll take this right now because they see the value. It doesn't matter the source. It doesn't matter where it came from. All that matters is the numbers. Give it to me, right? They're going to write you a check right there.
Indeed, because you still brought value. You found the deal. They didn't find this deal. So you're still bringing value and you're showing how you can still make the numbers that make the money that you would potentially be looking to make on an off-market deal, or even better using this strategy. So, excuse me, that's why Benson said having that relationship, having that conversation with your buyers is to explain them what your philosophy is on this so that they're not caught off guard and giving you that pushback. That's going to be key. Just have that conversation, explain to them. It's going to be a win-win for us both. I can bring you these deals all day long based upon my tools that I have to bring those to you. You're still a value, guys, because they don't have this tool necessarily. So you're still a value to them.
Right. And the value is that you've got the deal and they don't.
Absolutely.
And if it's
You have
under
the deal.
contract, there's no way for them to go around you.
Mm-mm.
Right. So that's where the leverage is. And honestly, you'll get to a point now where you're so confident. And if you explain it kind of how I did, and not in a, in a mean way, or just being kind of, I don't know, overly ambitious, you would just want to state it matter of fact, like the numbers are here. If you don't want it, I completely understand. Timing's everything in this business. I have plenty of other people to give it to you. And then you might even say, well, listen, should I take you off my list for all these other deals, at MLS deals? You're telling me you don't want them, right? And so they're going to start questioning themselves, because a lot of the times when they push back, they still like the deal. They're just trying to get a better price.
Mm-hmm. Because their mind is stuck in the other way of doing it. That's why. So that's literally all that it is. Some folks are going to get it off right away, and some folks are going to have to be re-educated, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So just a couple more things about this before we kind of start to wrap up. I went too long before we were having too much fun.
Having so much fun, man.
You can analyze any property you find just by entering the address right in here in the search bar. Our system will build a comparative market analysis for it with all the comparables. It'll show you the fix and flip activity in the area, and it'll show you the before and after data. If you're in one of those direct to MLS areas, you'll have the before and after pictures. You'll have more information about listing agents and such. So, that information is there for you. We have an upload feature. We can actually upload a list of properties, and our system will build a comparative market analysis for it. So if you have another source of deals that you are currently doing, maybe it's the county or you buy it from some company, you can still leverage the algorithms that we've built to run analysis on all those properties in seconds. So you don't have to analyze them on a one-off basis. The most important thing here, you guys, is the automation. And this is where the institutional buyers are really kind of putting their foot in the ground, is having this happen automatically. So if I had saved this search in this market and set my parameters, once that property is found that matches this deal criteria, it is automatically sent to me right to my inbox with all the comps there ready to go. You just have to look at it, make sure the comparables make sense, see if there's any comparables you need to eliminate because maybe it's on the other side of a major road or it's on a highway. Then you can do that quickly. But it's all in the automation. So if you're at your 9 to 5 and you look at properties in the morning before you leave to work, and then you check it at noon again for lunch, if there's a deal sitting there, you can take action. You don't have to spend all your day in here. So this is one of the simplest ways to add that automation into the business. Or you have a virtual assistant help you, which Sean's going to talk about more. And VAs can help you with a bunch of different stuff. We've got people who use VAs to help them kind of navigate some of the deals they find in Privy, doing some of their off-market activities, doing cold calling, a bunch of stuff. So let's kind of to wrap this up here. I hope that was fun for you guys. It's when I found those properties like that, I didn't cherry pick that deal, you guys. It was just there. That's the kind of the beauty of this is there's a good chance I might have looked and there wouldn't have been anything there. And again, that's just how the system goes. That's how the business goes. We don't create or destroy deals. We can just help you find them and get that needle out of the haystack and prevent you from having to analyze 95 or 100 deals to get rid of 95. We focus you in on the 5 that make sense. Then you just decide which ones you want to write an offer on. So we showed you kind of like the benefits here. So this live CMAs, the comping algorithms, the automation, off-market leads, direct access to MLS data, third-party listing data, all that is right in our system. And once you set it, you can forget it. The analysis of the comparables is, again, more of an art than is a science. So you don't have to be an expert comper. All you got to do is just look at the data that's there and figure out, where the after repair value lies. And if you've used the reverse RA strategy and you got a bunch of fix and flip comps, that's your ARV, right? It isn't rocket science. And then we got these filters here where you can find all these off-market leads, everything from zombie properties to foreclosures, absentee owners, vacancies. This right here is one of the fastest ways to learn a market, you guys. It's not one of those fix and flip shows or they compress 5 weeks worth of work into 30 minutes and you don't know if the numbers are correct and you don't know what the actual situation is. Those are real deals. So this is all about optimization of your time. So when you're at work or you're with the family, the algorithm's working behind the scenes to eliminate all of this stuff that's just time suckers. And then you spend your time writing offers. Now, one of the cool things that comes out of this, you guys, is because of the data, you start to get more confidence in yourself, in what a deal looks like, and actually the numbers that support that deal, and then feeling comfortable with actually getting the offers out. Because if you're not making offers, there's no chance that you're going to get a deal. Right? It's all in numbers. It's a numbers game. Like, Sean, what do you teach your people when it comes to writing offers? Like, is there like an approach you teach, or do you just say what's your goal and then reverse engineer it?
No, in regards to, I can tell you with my team, everyone gets an offer. As far as my folks are concerned, everyone gets an offer. Absolutely. So you want to have different exit strategies, of course, in mind, but everyone gets an offer. And it's just based upon what their scenario is, what their situation is. But we present everyone with a solution.
Got it. So we talked a lot about wholesaling tonight, but like I mentioned before, whether you're doing fix and flip, wholesale, BRRRR, or you're buy and hold, the process of finding and analyzing a deal, the data is all the same until you get it under contract. And then that's when those different business models diverge into those specific areas. If you're brand new, if you've never done a deal before, that's great. We'll shorten your learning curve. We'll get you to a place where you understand your local market better than the people who are actually living there and doing deals the old-fashioned way. If that's a true thing too, because there's no place where you can learn what people are buying and selling properties for and what's working on the ground in your target areas. There's no book, there's no podcast. Sean is a great coach and mentor, but he's not going to tell you what a deal looks like in California, right? Because he doesn't have that data in his head. He's got a lot of other helpful stuff. He probably would get in Privy and learn it real quickly.
Indeed, that's exactly what I do. I get right in Privy.
But that education is nowhere to be found, you guys. So that it only comes from a platform like ours. So this is just a couple of testimonials. This is Anthony. He is a wholesaler in the Chicago market. And he was only doing off-market deals, and he was using Privy to run all his comparables. And so I finally showed him after he was losing a bunch of money on leads because he had people calling him and he was getting leads coming in off of his off-market marketing, and he wasn't able to answer the phone because he was at work. And so we lost all those leads. And I was like, man, just do on-market deals. And he didn't believe you could do it. Most people don't. I showed you that one tonight. There is absolutely no reason in the world why that couldn't be a wholesale deal. You just have to get it under contract. This right here is one of our users. He's an investor and an agent, and he has closed 350 deals, over 350 in the past 12 months using the reverse RE strategy and Privy. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous, and it sounds ridiculous to me, which is why it's the truth. It's because I wouldn't say that unless it was true, because it sounds so ridiculous.
Benson is actually being generous. It's more closer to 450. That guy's crushing it with this tool here.
Have you talked to Christian lately?
Yep. Talked with him about maybe 3 weeks ago.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Right. And so again, it's going up. Now he has, a couple people on his team that he works with, and he's got systems in place. What it shows you guys is this is doable. And it isn't just a pipe dream. Like, legitimately, business people, operators is what they call them in this space, are leveraging this data, doing this anywhere. And if you had any hesitation in your mind that this business can work, this is how it can work out for you. You just have to take action and start writing offers and getting those deals out and being confident in those numbers. This is just what Christian did. So let me show you how you can get access to the tool. So we're gonna have two pieces here. One, we're going to show you how to get access to the software, and then we're also going to talk to you about how you can start to implement some virtual assistants in your business. Because even with a tool like Privy, there are certain things that need to get done, administrative work, or if maybe it's off-market marketing, doing some of the deal tracking and keeping up with the leads that you may need help with. And a virtual assistant who charges less than $10 an hour is an amazing way of getting that done. So for Privy, obviously we've got an amazing tool. I showed you that property that literally had a potential $40,000 assignment fee attached to it. You can get Privy for $1,164 for the year. Small investment for a huge ROI. And that's just one property we found today, you guys. There's dozens and dozens of them. We could probably find 20 of them if I spent 30 minutes looking. So I threw in some bonuses too. I got some discounts for you and I got some bonuses. The first bonus is that our system is constantly changing and evolving. And so we've got some people who were with us last year or the year before who are at really good prices that we don't offer anymore. And so as our stuff changes, we're going to be adding more price. So I'm going to grandfather you in at the price I'm going to show you. You're going to get all the new MLS markets for free. So in previous versions of Privy, we would say up to 3 markets for one price, and then it would scale after that. Right now, we're not doing that. You're gonna get all the markets for free. Off-market leads, up to 10,000 leads per month for off-market leads. And as we add more standard upgrades to Privy, your account won't change. So that's a huge value. I'm gonna give you that for free. Support. So some of you are listening to me and you're thinking, algorithms, automation, like I can barely work my smartphone. How the hell am I going to use automation to find deals? And that's a real thing. So I don't want you to be scared. You don't have to be a technology expert to be able to use Privy. The majority of it is just in these small filters. And we've been constantly making this user-friendly for years. A little bit of training, you can get up to speed. However, I put together this package here where you can get the VIP support. So you get 1 hour with me. I'm going to help you create and save all your searches, help you put together your strategy on which areas to target, how to target them. We're going to save your searches so you start getting deals showing up in your inbox the very next day. We also have a live mastermind that we do twice per week. We can get on, we can talk Privy, we can talk about other things. That is great because the majority of companies out there really have a huge upcharge for that. We wrapped it into this bonus package. And you can actually call in and talk with me. So me or somebody else on my team, we don't force you into chat or email support. If you get stuck, there's somebody you can talk to. Mm-hmm. Now, we also know that many people who are in the wholesale biz use the buyer's list piece of it as a way to not take action. Well, I don't have any buyers yet, so I'm not going to write any offers yet. And I showed you how simple it is to build a buyer's list earlier with Privy. However, I'm going to get you started with 5,000 buyers in the nation, all separated by state, emails, phone numbers, names. This by itself is worth a couple $1,000s, you guys. I'm going to give you that for free. For those of you who are looking to evolve to fix and flip, or you're currently like thinking you're going to do a fix and flip, you need to start putting all the pieces in place to be able to execute that. So, how do you work with contractors? How do you calculate your construction costs? What does it mean to take a property from demo to close? All of these things are unknowns potentially. And so a friend of ours, Roddy, up in the the Chicago market, put together this Rehab Depot book. And it's just packed full of valuable information that really help you shorten your learning curve on this piece, if that's something you're interested in, but everybody gets it for free. All right, so let me just kind of break this down. So 1 full year Privy access, the master membership, the VIP onboarding and support, the national buyers list, all that stuff together is a huge value. It's over $3,800, $930. $930 for the entire year includes all that stuff. It's close to a $3,000 savings. It's like paying $77 a month. You do pay it up front, but think about what you spend your money on every week, every day. Starbucks and Chipotle and the new shoes from Amazon and all that junk. Does any of that make you money? Well, I showed you tonight how you can make a lot of money for as little as $77 a month. That's the annual plan, $930. That's a 30-day money back guarantee. Absolutely no risk to go with that. Now, the promo code for that is 930. Promo 930. That's going to be a 48-hour limited time promotion, and then that's going to go away. Before you actually go and start buying that, I do want to give you another option here of taking it up another notch. So as good as our software is, and as much as we know you can use the automation, we still have people who are having trouble connecting the dots. And it doesn't mean that they're slow or anything like that. There's just a lot of moving parts in this business. So I created a 30-day course. It includes modules showing you exactly how to start off in one market from the very beginning, going all the way to Z and closing deals. It's 20 plus hours of content and a bunch of tools and other things you can use. And I'm going to give you live coaching calls. So we're going to do coaching calls once a week, where you come in and you can bring your deals. We can talk about what you're working on. And here's just an example of some of these modules. So like how to research your target market, finding motivated sellers, how to calculate construction costs, right? How to close and win deals. Like these are just some examples of that. So we're not coaches. I don't want you to confuse this with like me being a coach. We just want to make sure you've got support to be able to execute this strategy with a little bit more hand-holding. And so all this stuff here, you get all of everything I showed you before, but now you get the course and you get to show up on those coaching calls, $1,497 for the year. It's only additional $500 and something, like ridiculously low. So I'm going to start to put these links in the chat. This is really no brainer. 30-day money back guarantee on everything we do. And I now want to talk about what you would do if you wanted to implement this strategy and actually leverage virtual assistants to help you execute. Because as much of automation there is in here, there's still the business to run. There's all kinds of other things in your company that you need to figure out. So Sean, what does that look like?
Guys, I've got a company that Benson, he'll drop the link. I saw that someone asked a little earlier for the link for my VA company. It's called REI World Solutions. Benson's going to drop a link for that. And again, guys, we are a company that's based out of the Philippines. We are professionally trained staff. They go above and beyond to deliver for our clients to ensure that all that heavy lifting can get done so that, like Benson said, you guys can focus on actually growing your business instead of being so much stuck in that business. So there's a lot of things that they can do on your behalf as far as even sending out agreements, doing a lot of the administrative tasks that a lot of us get bogged down with when we first get started in this business that kind of deters us from continuing. All that can be taken care of for you guys. There's a one-time setup fee for our service. It's $197, and then it's $7 per hour to get a professionally trained, top-notch virtual assistant that's trained in our industry. They're dedicated to your team, not working for you for 1 hour, then they're on someone else's call for no, they're dedicated to your team and your company's success. So we're very proud of what we put together. And if you guys need any type of service in that area, definitely Benson will drop that link to ensure that you guys can get a hold of that.
Yep, definitely. So I just put that in the chat, you guys. Mm-hmm. So let me show you what this looks like when you go to REI World Solutions. So right here is where you can come and you can learn more about the VA business and really how you can start to grow, right? There's only a certain amount of things that you can do on your own effectively. And I know that a lot of us entrepreneurs, we're notorious for this, is just believing that we can do everything ourselves, right? Not wanting to offboard everything, keeping everything to the vest, driving ourselves crazy, working to midnight every night and not sleeping and working weekends. And it's like, okay, think about what your time is worth. Mm-hmm. Think about what your annual salary is, right? If you think that you're worth $80,000 a year, right? That's a reasonable amount. Well, figure out what your hourly rate is. So if you're $80,000 a year and you divide that by 12, that's $6,666 per month that you would make, mm-hmm. right? So that is 20 days. Is that right? Let's subtract our weekend. So 22 days of that would be 5 days a week. Mm-hmm. So 5 times 4, it's 20 to 22. Let's just use 22, right? So take that into consideration. So we got 22. So $303. Is that right, Sean? Did I just screw that math up? I just decided to do this just now. I should have been more prepared.
I think you're about right. Let me just confirm that. I can confirm it really quickly.
Divided by 8 hours a day.
Yeah, you're right. That's it. You're making $303 per day. At that rate of 22 days, 22 working days per month. That equates to the $6,666.
Okay. So if that's what you're doing, then your hourly rate is close to $40 an hour.
Yep. Then you
Now,
want to
if
break
you're
that
working
down. Yep.
for $40 an hour, that's what you're worth. And Sean can get you a virtual assistant who work for $7 an hour.
$7 an hour, guys. And like you say, like we see here on the website, guys, these are highly trained professionals. Most of them have college degrees, 4-year college degrees, continuous accent coaching. Like you see, guys, they're expertly managed. I can't say enough about them. I'm very proud of them, guys. And there's a 60-day virtual assistant switch guarantee. So if for any reason your VA is not working out for you, you can just let us know. You can make a switch to another virtual assistant without paying an additional administrative fee. And guys, then for the past 2 years that I've been running this business, knock on wood, we hadn't had one person say that, my VA is horrible, I need a new one. So we're very proud of that.
Man, you should be. I can't figure that out in my own business, let alone working with virtual assistants. But that's why the setup fee is so valuable, right? Because you guys go out and you find the right people.
Absolutely.
So there's a $197 setup fee for this, you guys, which, I mean, depending on your business, it may sound like a lot, it may not sound like a lot. But if you're worth $47 an hour or $40 an hour into 197, think how long it would take you to find the right person, to train them, to get them up to speed. Sean's staff does all of that for you. And if it takes more than 6 or 7 hours to do on your own, then that's why this is a good investment. And he also gives you the guarantee. So within 60 days, if that person doesn't work out, they'll go out and find another person for you. And no one's had to do it yet.
Absolutely, guys.
If you're hiring a VA, you guys, this is one of the best ways you can do it. So I'm getting ready to answer some questions. Phyllis, I've seen your questions here about the members. So no, Privy is a single seat license. So once you set up an account, it's set up for only one person to use it. And if you're going to have other people who want to use it in your business, let me know. We can put together a package deal. I know you're just starting off. You're already a user, and you're up in the Utah markets. You guys, if you want to do anything with Phyllis up in Utah, hit her up. She's on the ground there, and I know she would love to work with you. And so we are recording this. We're going to be posting it. Cool, Phyllis. We can talk tomorrow if you want, and we can come up with a price that makes sense, where we can do like a bulk deal. We'll get that price down for you. Good question. Let's see what other questions we have here. And you guys, I already see some people coming through. Thank you for signing up. Couple people. So this is why this works, you guys. Some people are just ready to take action. Some people are ready to stop messing around with the old-fashioned stuff and starting to take action right now. This is where you can really start to move your business. Stop doing things the old-fashioned way. Think about your competition. Think about your arch nemesis, the institutional buyers who are actually going and buying one out of every 3 to 4 properties. I'm sorry, 1 out of every 3 to 4 properties in your market. Like ridiculous amounts of competition out there. You have to change what you're doing. You absolutely have to change it. If you don't believe that, you're not being honest with yourself. If you're doing things the old-fashioned way, you are going to get pushed out of the business because it is so difficult right now to have any sort of meaningful movement. And that's even before it gets worse, right? Think how hard it is now.
That's without the legislation. You haven't even mentioned any legislative things just yet. You just mentioned 1 out of every 3 buyers is an institutional buyer. Like here in Atlanta, we have that on top of the legislative laws that have come in place in the city of Atlanta. So guys, this tool keeps you insulated from that. What
are the legislative laws that in your market you're talking about?
Sure. Well, here in Atlanta, I'm in a few different markets, but Atlanta is my home market. And the way that the law reads here, the ordinance that came out, it basically states that you cannot use a coercion to get anyone to close a property. And that's with repetitive calls or anything like that. It doesn't matter how you approach it. But what me and my attorneys did determine is that coercion, the legal definition was meaning that you had to physically force someone to do something. And we definitely were not doing that. But the reason why I want to point that out, guys, is because say I didn't have an attorney to tell me that, or say I didn't have Privy to use to do other methods, and I'm just stuck on wholesaling, and I say, you know what, I'm going to ignore that, and I'm just going to keep wholesaling. You will be made an example of it. So don't be that one person. So don't be that person that feels like they could circumnavigate the legal system. Just do things the right way, and this tool keeps you in the game, guys, because you're not using the method that's usually blocking certain people out. This tool keeps you in the game.
Absolutely. So you guys, we just did a pretty insane presentation, right? Hopefully it was kind of a paradigm shift for you. You know, we do things differently than everybody else that's out there. We're not doing things the old-fashioned way. We're trying to move the business forward, giving you more tools, more data to be able to execute. I am recording this, so I'm going to send out this to your inbox tomorrow morning with the replay and all the links I put in the chat tonight. However, obviously, some of you are ready to get going. You literally could write an offer tonight and get something under contract and sell it tomorrow. Like, that's what's possible, especially with that property I found in Indianapolis tonight. So it's time to take action, you guys. Stop playing around, make a move. We're going to be here to help you. Like, my goal is to make sure that anybody who invests in our tool gets a good return on their investment with us. So if you invest into our business, I'll invest into yours too. We just within reason and within the parameters of what I put here on the program. So if you think you need good support and handholding, go with the 1497. If you think that you need to, you've got things in place and you don't need a lot of extra support, well, then go with the other one. Go with the 930. All right. So I am excited to work with you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me just see right here. Did we have anything in the chat, Sean?
It looks like we've answered a lot of the questions. I was trying to keep my eye on that as well, but it looks like you answered a lot of the questions that were in the chat or a lot of the comments, and looks like a lot of folks are just making good connections with each other. And here we looks like we're up to like 77, 79 people at one point. So looks like a lot of people in here networking and making connections.
Awesome. Thanks, Harold. I do. I actually pride my business partner. He's like, man, you can't spend that much time with people. Like, we're running a business here. And I'm like, man, I want to help these people, make sure that they're getting the support. And so, I mean, it just goes to show that I'm passionate about the business and
Absolutely.
what we've built. And, we stand behind it, right? We got a 30-day money back guarantee. When things don't go the way they're supposed to, we make it right. So
absolutely. I stand by what Benson just said, guys. That's why I'm on this call to support Benson. He's definitely a go-giver. We have similar philosophies and mentalities. That's why we're both here, guys. He has his software and his company that he gives so much for. Like he said, he's here pouring day in and day out, guys. That's the type of person that you want on your team, just like myself. So I love it, Benson. Thank you for always having me on these calls, man. And it's always great to add inspiration to your audience as well, brother.
Oh, man. Well, you got so much to offer, man. You've been around for so long and you got so much experience in different realms, like obviously the wholesaling, and then just working with people, the coaching, the mentoring, the way that you've broadened your business model to include writing books and offering VA services and other things to help them connect the dots.
Yep.
Because most people don't. They have one course, they just sell it over and over and over and over again, and they never change. And that's just not you. So
No.
I want to commend you for stepping up your game, man. And I know you got a big announcement coming out here in the next few weeks with your new partnership.
Absolutely.
Can you say anything about it?
Yeah, I mean, guys, I just went into a new partnership with another great gentleman out there. And I don't want to necessarily just let out the bag just yet, because we will have a launch and all that stuff for it. But guys, it's just another way for us to be able to give back more to our folks out there who need it, because that's what this is all about, is helping change lives, giving to those who need it. And, if we all had that mentality, just think of how much better the world would be if we all had the, want for your brother or sister what you want for yourself mentality.
100%. Awesome, guys. Well, I appreciate you being here. Feel free to reach out to me. I put all my contact information in the chat as well. And reach out to me if you have any questions. Otherwise, keep an eye out for that replay tomorrow.
seated on the throne. The top is so alone. Only thing that keeps me going is I know my city love me. I know my city love me. I know my city love me. I know my city love me.